In the last two episodes, I have shown you how to create classes in Python and how to create class methods. And in this episode, I'm going to explain you how inheritance works. Over here in PyCharm, I have a simple program which is importing a programmer class from the programmer Python script. And I can quickly show you that our programmer is a simple class which has 3 Boolean variables: can read, can write, can program. And it also has 2 methods of writing code and reading a book. And the write code method is actually being called by me in the main file where I'm creating James, who is our new programmer object, and I'm telling James to write code using the write code method. But now let's say I want to create a more specialized programmer. Let's say I want to create an AI engineer. For that, I'm going to create a new Python script. Let's call it AI programmer. And in this script, I can create our new class of AI programmer. And now let's say I want that programmer to be able to do everything that the regular programmer is able to do, plus some additional things. So what you could do is just copy over all of this code and paste it in there, and that would work. However, depending on how complicated your class is, there might be hundreds or even thousands of lines of code, and it's not really a viable solution. Also, if you would choose to copy the code over, if you need to make any changes, you would actually have to go across all of your classes and make changes in each one of them. And inheritance is a method which allows that AI programmer to inherit all of the information from the regular programmer, which means that the AI programmer will have all of those variables and all of those methods, but we can also override them as well as create completely new ones. To add inheritance to our AI programmer, first off, we have to import our regular programmer with from programmer import programmer. And now here, next to our class name, we have to open parentheses, inside of which we have to input the programmer. Whatever you put inside of those parentheses is going to be the parent from which we're inheriting values. And the AI programmer is the child object of the programmer class. Just to demonstrate, for now, let's say I'm not going to add anything to our AI programmer. I'm simply going to pass. And now I will go back to our main function and let's import our new programmer from AI programmer import AI programmer. And as you can see, currently I'm creating a programmer object James and I'm telling it to write code. So when I run my script, it simply says writing code. However, now let's create Cameron, who's going to be an AI programmer, and I'm going to tell Cameron to read a book. And if we run it again, as you can see, our console is saying that Cameron is reading the book despite of there not being any code in the actual class itself. And that is because our AI programmer class is inheriting all of the methods and values from our programmer class, which is now its parent class. So the actual read a book method is being taken from here. If you want to add additional methods to our AI programmer, we can simply write them in the class. So let's define an additional method. Let's call it making neural networks. And now I have created our additional method for the AI programmer. And if I go back to our main file, I can tell Cameron, which is the AI programmer, to make neural networks. And if I run the file, you can see that he's making neural networks. Now, if I would try to tell James to make neural networks, it's not going to work because James does not have a method of making neural networks. AI programmer is inheriting all the values from the programmer, but it does not work the other way around. It's only a one-way process. But now let's say that we want to overwrite a method or overwrite a value. Well, you can simply do that by using the same name as in the parent class. So if we have a method called write code and I copy it over, you can see Python is even marking me on the left here that this method is overriding the method in programmer, and that's because that's precisely what we're doing. I can now tell the AI programmer that the writeCode function should be doing something else than its parent class is telling it to. And now that I have overridden the method, we can go and test it. Let's tell both of our programmers to write code. And if I run it again, you can see that the James is using the programmer method, and the AI programmer Cameron is using the AI programmer method because it was overwritten. And yeah, that was inheritance, and that would be it for today. See ya.